This may or may not be a good idea, but I took my phone out to do this video, so I'm not going to be out here for very long, so hopefully it won't affect my phone. But this is our first Maine snowstorm. And I don't even think I can call it a storm because it's really not going to accumulate too much. I think south of us is getting the worst of it, or the most of it, because I love snowstorms. And I was going to leave Maggie inside, but I knew she'd look out the window and wish she was with us, so I put her coat on. And Sheppie's already way up. And so what I plan to do this winter, as I've mentioned before, is that I've been leaving my truck at the end of this driveway when the snow is really, really high. And I pull my groceries and my water to the cabin with my sled. But I'm trying something different this year, and I'm pretty excited because I think it's going to work. Now what happens is I can drive for pretty much all winter until the snow gets too deep in this middle area here where all these plants are. Whew, I'm out of breath. And even though my truck has a really high clearance, it tends to have trouble when the middle part gets too high. So I saw this video of a guy who made a pull behind plow made out of wooden pallets. And all he did was make a V shape and drag it with a chain. And that thing worked great. So I'm going to do that. And I bought the chain. And I bought the hooks. And I've got my pallets. And since it's a pull behind, I won't be able to go downhill with it. But I still think it'll work great because I'll start at the bottom of the hill and I'll come up this way. And so what it will do is my tires will tamp down on either side, and that pull behind V-shape pallet will clear all the snow in the middle. And I'm really excited because I think it's going to work. And no, I don't want to buy a plow because they're extremely expensive. And I only need a plow for my driveway. And then I don't need it after that. So I think it's going to be really fun to use. And I also have this funny feeling that we're going to get a lot of snow this year. And maybe it's because the last few winters haven't been that bad. And actually, we had one winter where we barely had snow at all. And so I think we're due. And I think we're going to have some really big blizzards. And what happens is, I've cut back a lot of these tree branches because what happens is they get really heavy and weighed down with the snow and they'll lean over. And sometimes you can just grab a branch and shake off the snow and it'll bounce back up. And other times I'll come out here after a storm and they've actually broken off and blocked the driveway. And there's only been a couple times when an actual tree has actually come down. But I come out with my Sawzall and drive up in the truck and the dogs stay nice and warm. And I just saw it up. And it works out great. And so I'm excited. I love the snow, and I know some of you live in much warmer climates. But to me, I grew up in New England, and it's kind of magical the way the snow makes everything look. And it kind of makes the sound more muffled, even though you can hear me walking. And I remember when I was a kid, I couldn't wait to go outside. Of course, we built snowmen, and this is a really wet snow, so this would make a great snowman. Isn't it beautiful? Listen. Isn't it beautiful? And I'm sure the deer aren't far away. I'm not sure how they hunker down at night. They must have a special place they go to. But I'll see their tracks soon enough in the snow. And what they did a couple of years ago, they came right up to the cabin, right up to my front door actually, a couple of times. And I was so tempted. This is where I sawed off some of these branches. I was so tempted to put out some hay and feed them. But then I found out that it's not at all healthy for them to eat hay or anything provided by humans, because they have their own diet and their own digestive system rather. And so I realized it's best to just leave nature be and let them do what they know best to do. And I love animals, so sometimes it's kind of hard because I want to take care of all of them. But I have to remember that nature has intended to be left alone, and I need to honor that. Come on, Shep. And so I hope you enjoyed this little walk up my driveway. And I think what I'll do with my phone is, the minute I get it inside, let it warm up before I upload this video. And I believe I should get a GoPro that's more weather compatible, and leave my phone inside for inside videos and not take a chance with it the way I am right now. This is so beautiful. Today is December 2nd. I kind of thought I'd see some hoof prints from the deer. But what's going to be interesting is all the paw prints that I will see also from the coyotes. And I believe I have a bobcat, or maybe more than one bobcat, because I've seen some very, very large prints. And many of you have asked if I've ever seen a bear. And no, I have not. However, they're not too far off. Where I am is not all that far from town. However, a 5-minute drive is the forest, and I'm quite sure that they are out there. And of course I could always see one out here, and they may very well be closer than I want to believe they are. But I haven't seen any. But there have been a few nights, very late at night, when I've been nice and comfortable in bed with a warm fire, and the dogs are suddenly awoken by something growling outside. And of course, I never go out and look to see who it is. But I think it might be fun to see if I could get a motion sensor light at least, so I could look out the window and see from there. And I imagine that it was a bobcat. I don't know if coyotes growl. And yes, I do keep my garbage bag that gets picked up once a week at the end of the road. I do keep it out on my porch, but what I do is, if I have something that I think might attract animals, what is it called? I have a cleaning spray. I forget what you call it. And I also put bleach in it, and I spray the garbage. And hopefully that's a deterrent. And so far, I haven't had any problems with it. But what's funny is, or rather sad, UPS leaves packages for me at the end of my driveway. And I had ordered something. Actually, it was a brand new Sawzall. And I had received a notification that it was delivered. But I waited until the morning to go get it. And the box had been totally ripped to shreds. And that was in the middle of winter, and I wonder if the animals had hoped that there was food inside, which there wasn't. But it taught me that if I know a package is coming and I get a notification that it's here, I'll get in my truck and I'll drive up and get it right away. I won't leave it up there overnight. And I never have food delivered here anyway, so here we are. The first snowstorm in Maine. And you might be able to hear the creek. I'm not sure. And I did a pretty good job trimming all these trees. I don't think I'll have any trouble this winter. But I always have my Sawzall, and I always have the battery charged. Sorry. I always have, it's a battery-powered Sawzall, so I always have it ready, especially before a storm, because I don't want to be blocked in if I ever need to leave in an emergency. And so far, it's worked out really well. It hasn't been a problem. So I hope you're all having a great day wherever you are in the world. And if we ever, well, we will for sure get a big, big snowstorm. And it's very typical to have more than 2 feet of snow on my driveway here. And when it's that high, I won't drive down here anymore. Unless my snowplow ends up working the way I hope it does. And I'll do a video on that. I've got the chain, and I'm going to pull it behind my truck, and it will just drag all the snow to either side, and then I'll drive over it again and tamp it down. Now, the only time I will not drive down here is when it's icy. And that happens in the spring, when the rain will freeze overnight. And this is extremely slippery, as well as the roads. And I don't go anywhere when I know it's warm during the day and cold at night, because you can't see the ice, and that's a mistake a lot of drivers do. Because that's why they call it black ice. You can't see it. So it's just a matter of being aware of how to live up here. And someone asked me, actually just this morning, do I really need my truck up here? And I already answered him, but the answer is yes. First of all, having a truck, a pickup, no less, you can always pick up any large item that you want. You can put firewood in the back, you can put groceries in the back, you can put whatever you want. And it's also a 4-wheel drive, which you absolutely have to have if you live up here full-time in Maine. And my truck is also somewhat higher up on its axles. I'm not quite sure why it was. But I really like that feature, because if the snow ever gets very deep, which it has in the past, I have driven right through it without a problem. So there you go. I'll always keep it. It was paid off a few years ago, and that's the best kind of truck to have, the paid off kind. So I'm going to end this here and take my phone in and let it warm up. And yeah, please feel free to ask me any questions. And I might get a coat for Sheppie. I'm not sure. But the problem is, if I let Sheppie out in the woods with a coat, I don't want him to get it caught on a branch or something and get stuck, because I don't think he'll bark. He's a very laid back, quiet dog. And I'll never know what happened to him, and I won't know where he is. So I'll leave it up to Sheppie to come home when he's cold, which he always does anyway. And he never goes that far. But he just loves to go out and just go out in the woods. And I think he's pretending to be a watchdog. And actually, I know he would be very protective if the situation ever presented itself. I have no doubt that he would be. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll do many more out in the snow, and hopefully I can find a GoPro. If you have any suggestions, or if you are familiar with them or have one already, I'd love to hear about it, because I have no idea how they work, how you upload videos, how it connects to the internet, or even if they do. And I have to learn all about them. So I'd love for your suggestions if you are knowledgeable about those, and what models that maybe you would recommend to me. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Take care.